Hello students, today we will study History 10th SSC lesson number 5 Mass Media and History. So there are 5 topics in this lesson. 5.1 Introduction to Mass Media, 5.2 History of Mass Media, 5.3 Why do we need mass media, 5.4 Critical understanding of the information received through mass media, 5.5 Mass media and professional opportunities. Think about it. What could be the method of sending a news to Delhi if there were a famine in Bihar in the Mughal period? How much time would it take for the aid to reach Bihar after the Pasha heard the news? So let's see topic 5.1 Introduction to Mass Media. Mass media contains 2 words. Mass in this context means an aggregation of people, and media means various modes of communication. Thus, mass media is a field of mass communication. We can easily send some information to a far away destination through a medium of communication. In the olden days, a crier would run in the streets beating drums and crying out important news according to the orders of the king. The news would spread among people by the word of mouth. 5.2 History of Mass Media. So let's see history of mass media. Printing technology and newspapers were introduced in India after the arrival of the British. People started receiving printed news through newspapers. Newspapers became the first mass medium of circulating information and knowledge among people. The newspapers. Newspaper is a publication which mainly prints news, editorials, people's opinions, entertaining or other supplementary content. It is printed and distributed regularly at a definite time. Newspapers provide various local, national and international news. Newspapers are historical documents which record current events. Precursors of newspapers. So let's see next topic, precursors of newspapers. Before the beginning of the Common Era, there was a custom in Egypt of placing inscriptions with royal decrees at public place. Emperor Ashoka also resorted to similar method to reach out to his subjects. In the Roman Empire, royal decrees were written on papers and those were distributed in all regions. They also contained the information of various events taking place in the nation and its capital. During Julius Caesar's reign, newspapers known as Acta Diurna, meaning acts of every day, used to be placed at public places in Rome. It was a very effective way of conveying royal commands to people. In the 7th century CE, royal dictates were distributed among people at public places. In England, handouts used to be distributed occasionally, giving information about wars or important events. Travelers arriving from far away would add spice to stories from those places and narrate it to local people. The ambassadors of a king posted at various places would send back important news to the royal court. Bengal Gazette. Now what is Bengal Gazette? The first English newspaper of India was printed on 29th January 1780. It was named as Calcutta General Advertiser or Bengal Gazette. It was started by James Augustus Hickey, an Irish gentleman. Darpan. So what is Darpan? The newspaper Darpan was started in 1832 in Mumbai. Bal Shastri Jambekar was the editor of Darpan. Now make a list. Make a list of national leaders in the pre-independence period and the newspapers started by them. About Darpan, the news printed in Darpan can be reviewed to know about the political, economic, social and cultural events of those times. Here are a few news titles as examples. First, the accounts of expenditure from the 3 administrative divisions of the East India Company. Second, the danger of Russian attack on the nation. Third, appointment of a committee for cleanliness of the city. Fourth, remarriage of Hindu widows. Fifth, the inception of theatre at Calcutta. Sixth, achievements of Raja Ram Mohan Roy in England. Reporting of such news throws light on various historical events of those days. Do you know Bal Shastri Jambekar is referred to as the first editor by virtue of his being the editor of the first Marathi newspaper. His birth date 6 January is observed in Maharashtra as the Patrakar Din, Journalists' Day. Prabhakar newspaper. This newspaper was started by Bhau Mahajan, The History of French Revolution and Shatpatri. The letters by Lokhitwadi, Gopal Hari Deshmukh, aimed at creating social awareness, were published in this newspaper. Dhyanodaya. Dhyanodaya printed the map of Asia in 1842 and the map of Europe in 1851. The honor of printing an illustration in an Indian newspaper for the first time goes to Dhyanodaya. The news of installation of telegraph used for electrically transmitting a news can be seen in Dhyanodaya. The news of the starting of railways in India was printed in Dhyanodaya under the title Chakya Masoba, meaning the Masoba with wheels. It had also printed the news of the Indian War of Independence of 1857. Newspapers in those times were a very important medium of creating social awareness. A newspaper named Indu Prakash supported widow remarriage in a big way. Deen Bandhu, a newspaper representing the masses of the Indian society, Bahujan Samaj, was started by Mahatma Jyotirao Phule's close associate Krishna Rao Bhalekar. We get to know about the issues relating to the masses through this newspaper. So do this activity. Let each student in the class bring a cutting of interesting news. Create a journal from the collection of news. Kesari and Maratha newspaper. Kesari and Maratha, the two newspapers, are indicative of an important stage in the history of Indian newspapers before independence. Gopal Ganesh Agarkar and Bal Gangadhar Tilak started these papers in 1881. They spoke about the social and political issues of that period. Kesari began to publish articles about the nationwide situations, books in the native languages, and the politics in England. In the 21st century, newspapers have continued to fulfill an important role. It was acknowledged the fourth column of democracy. Next topic is magazines and journals. So magazines and journals are periodical publications. This category includes publications which are weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, 6-monthly, annual, etc. There may be some chronicles which are published at no fixed time. So, to this activity, in recent times, many newspapers have introduced e-newspapers. The e-newspapers are being received well by the readers. Learn to read e-newspapers with the help of your teachers. So, Bal Shastri Zambekar started the first monthly magazine in Marathi. It was named Digdarshan. Among the periodicals, Pragati, now a defunct journal, was started in 1929 and edited by Trimbak Shankar Shejawalkar. He wrote regularly in this historiographical journal of Maharashtra's history and social movements. Currently, there are many periodicals devoted to Indian history. Marathi journals such as Bharatiya Itihas Ani Samskruti and Marathwada Itihas Parishad Patrika may be cited as examples. Let us search and find out. Apart from the journals cited above, there are many more journals related to research in history, published in Marathi, Hindi and English by various institutions and universities. Search and find out about them with the help of internet. Electronic or digital journalism. There are ultra-modern periodicals form a part of electronic of digital journalism. History is a prime subject of interest for these periodicals as well. Many web news portals, social media, web channels, YouTube, etc. make historical content available to the audience, readers. Radio. So, in radio, Indian Broadcasting Company IBC, a private radio company, was the first one to broadcast daily programs. Later, the same company was taken over by the British government and named as Indian State Broadcasting Service ISBS. On 8th June 1936, it was renamed as All India Radio AIR. After independence, AIR became an integral part of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting India. Initially, it broadcasted governmental programs and schemes. It was named as Akashwani on the suggestion of the famous poet Pandit Narendra Sharma. Akashwani broadcasts various entertainment, awareness creating and literary programs. It also broadcasts special programs for farmers, workers, the youth and women. The Vivid Bharati programs are broadcasted in 24 regional languages as well as 146 dialects of Indian languages. Lately, various new channels like Radio Mirchi are providing radio services. Do you know in British India the first English news bulletin was broadcasted on 23rd July 1927 from the Mumbai radio station of the Indian Broadcasting Company IBC. Later the Kolkata radio station of IBC started a new bulletin in Bengali. So let's see what is about television. So the Delhi Doordarshan Center was inaugurated by Dr. Rajendra Prasad, the first Indian president. Doordarshan's Mumbai Center began to telecast its programs on 1st May 1972. Color television was introduced on 15th August 1982. In 1991, the Indian government granted permission to private national and international channels to telecast in India. Thus, it became possible for Indians to watch international events on television. Next topic is 5.3. Why do we need mass media? We need mass media to facilitate free flow of information to all strata of the society. Editorials, various columns and supplements are essential parts of newspapers. Readers are also ensured of a platform to voice their opinions. Newspapers can help in making the democracy stronger. Television is an audio-visual medium. It was possible for this medium to cross the inherent limitations of newspapers and the radio and show the actual visuals of an event to people. So far, There is no other alternative to television for watching an event as it actually happened. Do this activity, collect information and write a report about the television channels in India. Do this as a group activity. Next topic is 5.4, critical understanding of the information received through mass media. Let's see this topic in detail. Any information received through mass media needs to be reviewed critically. The news of information in the media may not always represent exact truth. We need to scan it very carefully. There is a very famous event of unauthentic information appearing in print in Germany. Stern, a German weekly magazine, had purchased a number of so-called handwritten diaries of Adolf Hitler. It sold them to various publication companies. The diaries were verified for their authenticity and subsequently the news appeared in the print. However, later those diaries were proved to be forged. It becomes apparent from this example that we need to be very careful about the information published by the media. Next topic is 5.5, mass media and professional opportunities. Let's see this topic in detail. Newspapers have to fulfill the task of providing fresh news to its readers. It is also necessary to unfold the background of an event in the news. At such times, newspapers have to resort to history. While reporting news in detail, reporters try to compare it with parallel events which happened in the past. The past event may be printed in a separate frame. History, editorials, articles, on this day in history, reviews, news, and columns. Thus, the reader gets access to additional information and he can get better insights about the current news. Newspapers print columns about historical information appearing under headings such as 50 years ago or 100 years ago, etc. Such columns are based on historical documents or written history. These columns provide historical information about economic, social, political events in the past and also events of historical significance. To this activity, newspapers also publish crossword puzzles based on history. Try to create similar crossword puzzles. For example, use fort names to create a puzzle. Let's continue. Newspapers occasionally publish supplements to the regular edition or special issues. For example, World War I commenced in 1914. Year 2014 marked the 100th year of this event. In order to be able to publish a newspaper supplement or a special issue to commemorate the occasion, one needs to review its history. In 2017, 75 years were completed after the announcement of Quit India movement. On such occasions, newspapers highlight the event through various articles, editorials, columns like What Happened in History on This Day, reviews, etc. The knowledge of history is essential for writing of such type. Try to do this. Try to collect information about the role of underground radio centers in the Quit India movement of 1942 with the help of your teachers. So let's continue. History is also essential in planning radio programs. For example, Akashwani has preserved recordings of all the speeches delivered each year by the Prime Ministers of India on 15th August. Akashwani invites historians as experts for discussions on various occasions such as the anniversaries of birth or death of national leaders, anniversaries of historical events, etc. Lectures on the contribution of various national leaders need to be supported by historical information. Programs like On This Day in History are also an integral part of the daily programs of Akashwani. Television channels also telecast programs based on history. Doordarshan and other television channels help in creating interest in history among people through their historical shows and serials. The mythological and historical serials like Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bharat Ek Khoj and Raja Shiv Chhatrapati attracted a very large audience. While producing this type of programs, maintaining accuracy with regard to the presentation of environment, outfits, weaponry, lifestyles, lingual expression, etc. is essential. One needs to have a deep understanding of history of the concerned period. Currently, channels like Discovery, National Geographic, History, etc., have opened a rich treasure of global history for the audience. It has enabled people to view the historical and geographic wonders at home. To make such programs more entertaining, some parts of the serial are actually enacted by actors such as the characters of heroic men and women, sportsmen, army chiefs, etc. Beside these serials about ancient monuments, forts, histories of empires, and also the history of culinary arts are watched by a large number of people with a great interest. People with deep knowledge of history in the respective field are sought out in all the fields mentioned above. You would find this interesting. Bharat Ek Khoj, a serial telecasted by Doordarshan, has a special place in the history of Indian television serials. It was based on Discovery of India, a book written by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. It was directed by Shyam Benegal. This serial presented in the history of India from the ancient to the modern period, throwing light on social, cultural and political history of respective periods. It effectively portrayed many aspects of Indian history like Harappan civilization, Vedic history, interpretation of Ramayana and Mahabharata, Mauryan period, Turk-Afghan invasions, Mughal period and the contributions of Mughal emperors, Bhakti movement, role of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, movements of social reform and Indian struggle for independence, etc. Roshan Seth, the actor who played Pandit Nehru's role in this serial, also appeared as a narrator, introducing and explaining various parts of the story by dramatizing them using folklore and informative speeches. The serial was admired in all parts of India because of the comprehensive historical perspective of Pandit Nehru and its equally comprehensive visual presentation. So that's the end of today's lesson. I will also be reading question and answers of this lesson. So these are the audio question and answers for students who can listen and learn the answers, or listen and revise and remember the answers. So write in brief notes. Question 1. The role of newspaper in the Indian struggle for independence. First point. Newspapers during the 19th century were a very important medium of creating social awareness. Second point, the newspaper Dhyanoday printed the news of the Indian War of Independence of 1857. Third point, Kesari and Maratha indicated an important stage in the history of Indian independence. Fourth point, they spoke about the social and political issues of that period, nationwide situations, etc. Thus, newspapers played a pivotal role in the Indian struggle for independence. Question number 2. The need of mass media, or why do we need mass media, or importance of mass media. Answer. First point, mass media is considered as the fourth pillar of Indian democracy. Second, we need mass media to facilitate free flow of information to all strata of the society. Third, it helps in reaching to masses and provides a platform to voice our opinions. Fourth, social, political, and economic awareness can be created through mass media. Fifth, information regarding present and historical events is made available to us in the simplest form. Sixth, newspapers and other medias publish and present authentic information after doing a lot of research, which keeps us well informed about the changing times. Question 3. Mass media and professional opportunities. Explain mass media and professional opportunities. Answer. First, mass media includes various modes of communication like newspapers, magazines, journals, radio, television, and other media platforms available due to internet. Second, newspapers include columns and articles written by professionals. Newspaper publishers require a large workforce who is capable of researching, proofreading, editing, and designing the content. Third, in today's times, there are magazines and journals on every topic possible. They provide professional opportunities to creative writers, authors, editors, etc. Fourth, in the radio industry, the demand for radio jockeys, historians, creative writers, music composers, etc. is increasing. Fifth, television industry provide a huge number of professional opportunities to journalists, creative writers, researchers, and historians, art consultants, etc. Sixth, people voicing their opinions regarding important matters can raise their agendas on blogs, websites, and other social media platforms. Due to the increasing digitization in all fields, professionals from information technology field are also required in creating software for e-newspapers, news applications, etc. Thus, mass media industry offers a tremendous scope to professionals willing to work in this industry. Question number 3. Explain the following sentences with its reason. Question 1. Any information received through mass media needs to be reviewed critically. Answer. First point, the news of information in the media may not always represent exact truth. Second, we need to research the real events and analyze it very carefully. Third, a widely known event of unauthentic information appearing in print was in Stern, a German weekly magazine. Fourth, this magazine sold the so-called handwritten diaries of Adolf Hitler to various publication companies. Fifth, while verifying it was found that the diaries were fake. Sixth, incidences of fake news on social media has become a critical issue in the recent times. So this was the answer for question 1. Give reason. Question number 2. Knowledge of history is essential for newspaper article. Explain the following with reason. So answer. First, newspapers reveal the background of events, and for that they have to resort to history. Second point, to write articles for newspapers, history is essential because writer must know the truth about incidents that happened in past. Third, only then it can be presented to readers. Fourth, any incorrect information may misguide the society. Fifth, newspapers occasionally publish special issues like what happened in the history on this day. Sixth, in order to be able to publish such articles or issues, one needs to review its history. Question number 3. Explain with reason. Television is the most popular medium. Answer. First point, television is an audio-visual medium. Second, television crossed the limitations of newspapers and the radio and in showing the actual visuals of an event to people. Third, so far there is no other alternative to television for watching an event as it actually happened. Fourth, we can watch news, sports events, television serials, reports on historical events, documentaries, cartoons, etc. on television. Fifth, currently channels like Discovery, National Geographic, History, etc. have opened a rich treasure of global history for the audience. Sixth, it has enabled people to view the historical and geographic wonders at home. Therefore, it can be said that television is the most popular medium of communication. Explain with reason. Newspapers help in making democracy stronger. Answer. First point, newspaper is a publication which mainly prints news, editorials, people's opinions, entertaining content, etc. Second point, newspapers provide various local, national and international news. Third point, newspapers are historical documents which record current events. Fourth point, they facilitate free flow of information to all classes of the society. Fifth point, it gives readers a platform to voice their opinion. Sixth point, newspaper and mass media is considered as the fourth pillar of the Indian democracy. Therefore, newspapers help in making democracy stronger. Question number 3B. Answer the following questions in 25 to 30 words. Question 1. Explain the objectives of newspapers. Answer. First point, newspaper is a publication which mainly prints news, editorials, people's opinions, entertaining content, etc. Second, the objectives of newspapers are providing local, national and international news. Third, objectives of newspapers include creating awareness and providing a secure platform for people to voice their opinions. Fourth, newspapers are historical documents which record current events. Question number 2. How is history helpful in the planning of Akashwani programs? Answer. First point, Akashwani broadcasts various entertainment and awareness creating programs. Second point, for such programs, Akashwani has preserved recordings of all the speeches delivered each year by the Prime Minister of India on 15th August. Third point, Akashwani invites historians as experts for discussion on various occasions such as the anniversaries of birth or death of national leaders, anniversaries of historical events, etc. Fourth point, programs like On This Day in History are also an integral part of the daily programs of Akashwani. Thus, history is essential and helpful in the planning Akashwani programs. Write a short note on Prabhakar. Answer. First point, Prabhakar was the newspaper started by Bhau Mahajan Govind Vittal Kunte. Second point, the history of French Revolution and Shatpatri, the letters by Lokhitwadi Gopal Hari Deshmukh, which were aimed at creating social awareness, were published in this newspaper. Some important questions. You have to find out the answer for these questions. Write a short note on magazines and journals. Next question, why is understanding of history required for making television programs? Or explain with reason, deep understanding of history is required to produce interesting programs. Next question is, which method of communication were used before the introduction of printing technology? Next question, write the notable contributions of Balshastri Jambekar. Or Balshastri Jambekar is referred to as the first editor or father of Marathi journalism. That's all in this lesson. Thank you.